You're pretending to be a guy who has a butterfly in him.
Right.
They would not be crying. If you start bawling, they're going to fucking kill you. So
great to see you, man. This is awesome.
Good to see you, man.
Last time we talked, first episode of Peacemaker had not even come out yet. And now the finale is out. Just looking back on the whole season.
Yeah.
Because I know, like you're online, like me. We're both online, maybe too much. But what has it been like for you to get to see the audience's reaction to John Economos in Peacemaker?
It's been incredible. And I mean, thankfully I have, social media to view it, because I was telling somebody else that, because of the pandemic, I'm not going out. I'm not socializing. I'm not going to bars. I'm not going to restaurants. I'm ordering in. I'm hanging out with a very small group of people, if I do that at all. And if I do go out, I'm in a mask. So there's no gratification other than seeing a billboard, but that doesn't tell you how the show's doing. That just tells you that Warner Brothers is doing their job and publicizing the show. But yeah, if it wasn't for the internet and like Twitter and Instagram, I wouldn't know that I just heard just before signing on to do these interviews today that were the number one,
I just saw that
single, episode viewership for
awesome.
For an original HBO Max show. So
that's so cool.
I wouldn't have known that any other way. So it's
nobody's texting, nobody's telling you that.
Nobody's telling me. So thank God for the internet, and the internet's been really great about it. And the viewership's been amazing, and the reactions have been awesome too.
Your character, who, everybody knows that this crew kind of started as like supporting characters in the Suicide Squad, expanding their roles. In the finale, man, you had this amazing moment that everybody's been talking about, this dye beard monologue. It was so good, and you were so good in it, because you've always been so funny, and you're so funny in this show.
Yeah.
And then this moment happens, and you're like heartbreakingly, like beautiful. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
What's it been like to see people respond to that, and what was it like shooting that moment?
It's been a huge relief. The reactions, I'm like, okay, I didn't this up. Because it was terrifying. When I first got the scripts, it's the last episode. So I'm like, well, I'm not shooting that for 6 months. And so it was always, there's this monologue where I'm just like, oh God, that's coming up, and I have to actually act. And that's not my strong point. And it was always, and the closer we got, the more nervous I got. And then we shot that on like a Monday or Tuesday. And so over the weekend, I sent James a text message saying, because I sat down with the monologue again, like over the weekend, and I was like, all right, I'm going to figure this out. And it didn't say in the directions if it was emotional or what. And so I asked James, and I was super nervous. I go, how do you want me to do this? Is he emotional? Is he sad? Is he nervous? And James was like, yeah, just say it normal. And I was like, looking back, now I know that James just didn't want me to get into my head. He just wanted me to learn the lines and just be off book so that he could direct me, which is what he does best. And we showed up, and I was not nervous anymore, because I was like, oh, I just have to say it normal. And we did the first take, and I'm like, oh, he thought it made him look younger and more handsome. I was like, oh, this is kind of funny. And then it started where James was like, just slow it down. Okay, he thought it would make him look young, and I started getting sad saying the lines, and then he's like, slow it down even more, wait in between some of the lines, because Peacemaker can hear you, they can hear you, and you have to come clean to this guy, otherwise they're going to suspect some shit. And it really started getting emotional, and there are takes we did where I'm full on crying and like can barely get the words out.
Wow.
Which I was excited that a director was actually, able to get me there. He ended up using a take that was somewhere more in the middle ground, still emotional and sad, but in the end, he was like, you're pretending to be a guy who has a butterfly in him.
Right.
They would not be crying. If you start bawling, they're going to fucking kill you. So we had to keep it a little more, along those lines, but it turned out great.
it was just like the finale had so many amazing payoffs. I'm wearing the T-shirt of one of the payoffs right now. Just the season long Aquaman joke to be paid off that way. But like, what you got a Peacemaker hoodie on? Very nice, very nice.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But like, just again to backtrack and like remind me of the timeline of this dye beard joke. You mentioned before that like you had it for Suicide Squad. Was that was it in the script? Was it a bit like how did that happen? And then James took it and was like, cool, now this is going to be a big part of your character.
James said, I want you to grow your beard out. That's all I knew before we went to do Suicide Squad.
Right.
And I think that was largely in part to the fact that John Economos is a character in the comics and he's got a beard. His beard looks more like yours. It's dark. It's not gray. And so when we showed up, he's like, yeah, you got to dye it. He's like, we got to dye it. We got to make it dark. Right. And so we did it and we made it look more natural like yours. And then I came in and showed James and he's like, what if we made it like dyed? Like it was spur of the moment. He's like, what if it's just you are a dude who clearly dyes your beard and we just don't address it?
Oh no.
I was like, yeah, that's funny and everything. But then you say cut and everyone goes home at the end of the day. And I go to Whole Foods looking like an asshole. You know, and I go home for Thanksgiving looking like an asshole.
Yeah. Plus you're wearing the shark displacement suit looking like an asshole. I mean, it's just there's so many things. Yeah.
Yeah. And Economos, we shot the scene in the prison at the very beginning of that 6-month shoot, you know, where we're meeting everybody and Economos is there with Harcourt. And that's the first time we see Economos. And then we don't shoot all the stuff in the headquarters with Viola until the end of the year. So I had to just keep this beard while being King Shark, which I didn't need to. So he never paid off other than, he kind of looks like John Economos.
But now here's the payoff is that people see you, if they see you in the real world without your mask on, they go, dude, your beard actually looks great natural this way. Looks way better than the dye beard.
Definitely.
And they think about that moment, which is so emotional and so great.
Yeah, and then we go to, you know, the show and it's like he ups the ante and he's like, you're the butt. That beard is the butt of Cena's jokes. He's like, I want to make it look even more dyed. I want to give you roots. So I'm just glad it paid off.
Here's a question, and it ties into, have you heard anything about James's plans for season 2? If because I asked Freddie Stroma and he goes, he just said that he had some ideas, but I didn't get anything out of him. So if you know nothing, you know nothing. But what's going to happen to the evolution of the beard in season 2? Like, will he stop dyeing it?
Yeah, I know nothing about James' plan. I know that while we were shooting season 1, I think he had a direction and he knew where he was going to go with season 2. So I'm not worried about that. But the only thing I think is a given is that Economos will have a different look to his beard. I hope, God, I fucking hope. And that we'll probably have a new opening dance number because so many of those characters are gone now.
That's what James was saying on social media. Exactly. I mean, in talking about season 2 and the finale and where it left off, like the status quo for the Suicide Squad, it's going to be changed because it's been exposed now by Leota. Like there's so many different places it could go. Where's something that you, Steve, personally would like Economos to get to do?
I would hate to put Viola out of a job because she does such a great job with what she does. But I would love to see, you know, I know that in the comic books, you know, the John Ostrander comics, his Suicide Squad, John Economos is the warden of Belle Reve Prison. And I wouldn't mind seeing me in charge of these horrible, you know, criminals, you know, that's just me. But
this is John Economos we're talking about, the guy who went la 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 when this guy is going to be put in charge of the super villains of the world. Okay.
I mean, I don't know where James' plan is, but I also wouldn't mind just being out in the field more and killing super monsters.
Yeah, some great action and great kaiju moments and so much amazing, insane stuff happened in that finale.
Yeah.
Question for you: do you think John Economos has a favorite member of the Justice League, or do you think he really believes those awful rumors about Aquaman? Aquaman seems like a cool guy in real life, right?
Of course, and I think all the, you know, the rumors that Cena is spouting, that's just testament to how gullible he is as far as believing shit that he reads on the internet, and especially Facebook. He's one of those people, is like, oh, masks actually do more harm than good.
Right.
Oh, they're putting nanobots in you with a vaccine. He's the guy that believes that shit. So he's believing anything he sees online about Aquaman. Clearly Aquaman does not fish, you know, and these are, I mean, it's the Justice League. They're badass, and
they're good people. They're good people. I mean, I was talking to Freddie about that finale and that cameo moment, and how you guys had heard like some of the actors are going to be available, like Momoa is going to be available at a later time, and so you didn't get to see them there filming that finale. But what was it like for you to see the final product and to see that moment?
I didn't know there were any certainties. I knew at the very least we'd have them backlit the way you see them when they first show up, which still would have been cool. I had heard that they were trying to get Momoa to come in and it would have to be on green screen later and have him added, which I thought was really cool. And I knew there was a good chance because Peter Safran, who's our executive producer, also produces Aquaman.
Yep.
And so I was like, that'll probably happen. I had no idea Ezra Miller was going to show up as Flash. And I mean, I really didn't know that till a week ago. And I was like, oh my God. And James was like, yeah, apparently he's a fan. And we asked him and he was like, sure, totally. So that was cool. I would have loved it if all of them had jumped in and done it.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, again, pie in the sky for season 2. You want John Economos to take over Amanda Waller's job. Are there any other like DC characters, because you guys are part of this bigger, movie and TV DC franchise, that you would love for Economos or his crew to meet and confront? I asked Freddie Stroma, and Freddie said that to see Vigilante and Peacemaker interact with Batman would be great. So, I mean, who do you got?
Those are top tier, wishes. I personally, that would be amazing. I would love it if it was Affleck to come in as Batman.
Right.
I would love Cavill to come in as Super. I would love any of them. I think it would be really cool. But knowing James' tendency to use really not even secondary but tertiary characters, I would love to see Batmite. I want to see how James makes a 2-foot tall Batmite for a whole. I mean, he made Judo Master work for a whole season, and killed it. So I would love to see Batmite. I think more than anything.
Are you hoping for a Judo Master Economos rematch? Because you got in some good licks, but you had a crowbar. That's kind of unfair. Like what happens if we get a rematch?
I mean, clearly he would eviscerate me. I can't jump over a fence without getting a compound fracture in my shin. Yeah, I've got a year to work. So, maybe I can lose a bunch of weight and he comes back a badass, and you find out he's been lifting weights with the villains and
Right. And just like whatever you do, just make sure that Economos never dyes his beard again. I think we can leave that in the past. I think he's free from that burden, and he's going to be himself. And I'm just really looking forward to it, man. Steve, thank you so much for talking to me today. I so appreciate it. Congrats on the finale, on the entire show, on season 2, and hopefully we'll get to talk soon.
Yeah, at least season 2. Thanks, Hector.
Yeah, you got it. Thank you guys so much.
See ya.